Hello, fellow white people. Would you like to move to a land down under, where the dregs of society aren't present? A land without the stench of lesser races? Well, it is quite a dream. I have been investigating for quite some time now, trying to get into that sacred land. However, I have so far found nothing. I have traveled the world. I toured Asia, Europe, Africa, and America. There, I have found nothing. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Nothing. I even found myself in Shambhala at some point. However, I'm keeping its location to myself. I think you'd be disappointed anyways. It did have a pretty nice 7-Eleven though. Anyways, I am still on the prowl, and I intend to investigate any leads I can find. Which brings us to the topic at hand, Agartha, the video game. Agartha is a 2D, physics-based puzzle game with 8-bit aesthetics, developed by Japanese developer Shindenkin in 2019. Agartha didn't exactly make a big splash. Just for perspective, this is one of perhaps a little over half a dozen videos on this game. Now, I'm sure you're thinking my reason for making this video is that this is some hidden gem. This game is pretty horrible, and I don't recommend you play it. I will tell you straight off the bat, I did not learn anything new about Agartha by playing this game. However, I did learn the Japs aren't gonna make it. It seems it's become a trend for me to have to explain how whatever game I'm playing doesn't run at all. The game does in fact not work if you happen to use Radeon graphics. Therefore, I had to run a script forcing the game to use Vulkan. I'm not too sure which of my further technical difficulties are inherent to the game and which are due to this forced compatibility. However, I will assume responsibility to the game, because that is simply where I'm at with this game. The game does boot now, but full screen maxes out at 720p and does not scale properly. Therefore, I had to play in 1080p windowed. Also, as I eventually discovered, the game is in fact not supposed to run at breakneck speeds.
Bro, how?
As it turns out, everything within the game is tied to FPS. Therefore, I played the beginning of the game at something like 5x speed, as these Chinese developers did not have the foresight to optimize the game for modern hardware in any way, despite being made in 2019. It doesn't even have an option for an FPS limit, nor VSync. Therefore, FPS needs to be controlled by external software. The game gives you 8 characters to choose from. You start as the gunner, who's a basic bitch. He has a machine gun which works as you'd expect, although it can also destroy tiles, but does not excel at it. You also have a flamethrower which can turn water into steam and dissipates oil. The ice beam turns water to ice and vapor to water, and the rocket launcher destroys tiles. The game is supposedly built upon the mechanics of these interactions. However, they aren't actually very varied, and the solution to almost every level ends up being blowing your way through. I never once felt smart for completing a level, which is a bad sign for a puzzle game. You don't really do puzzles in this game, you do tedious chores. There are also levels where the only solution is to wait where you spawn for lava to clear. Riveting. This gets worse when including secret exits. The world map is built like a puzzle, and sometimes finding a secret exit in one level is the only way to progress to another. Some exits are in plain sight and easy to access,
Oh, it's a secret exit, I don't do.
whilst others are very obtuse. Worst of all is probably C-7, which requires you to drain a huge lava lake to access its secret exit, something which takes over 10 minutes running the game with uncapped frame rate. The reason for taking so long is due to how liquids, or gravity-affected blocks in general, work. It seems, for most things in this game, the options the programmers chose were the easiest and worst. If lava has an empty space adjacent, it will fill it. If it has an empty space on both sides, it will simply pick at random one to occupy, and does not have any pathfinding to lead it to the closest drop. Therefore, it flows at the speed of molasses. To be clear, the game is just poorly programmed as a whole. This can be easily felt with the janky and inconsistent movement, and the game will frequently just let you clip into walls and ceilings, among other weird block interactions. As for the other characters, they can be unlocked with gems and meats, the former being present in limited quantities within the levels, and the latter being acquired by simply killing enemies. I did not bother unlocking all 8 characters. However, I did get the wizard, the ninja, and Esper. The wizard is probably the best among these, as he has the most amount of firepower, as well as flash bombs that can clear most levels with ease. The ninja is useful for levels with large open areas and verticality especially, and Esper is essential for clearing the most bullshit stages. In addition to regular levels, there are also boss battles. 5 in total. These are seriously probably the worst designed bosses in any game, at least that I've played.
Fuck.
The game's best boss is actually the first, which is boring and forgettable. The rest are complete horseshit and need to be completed with the wizard unless you want to suffer more than a major stroke. Every boss requires you to find some safe spot to shoot from. You do this for minutes on end, as the bosses all have unreasonable amounts of health.
Well, I might actually fucking stream, bro. Holy shit. Yeah, let's just give the boss 5 billion HP, bro, like.
Worst of all is probably this golem knockoff.
Oh, of course, the contact damage as well. Oh my god, bro. How the fuck do you beat this guy? Bro. Like, how the fuck do you dodge that thing? Hello? Hi, bro.
Having cleared the way to the final level, I am faced with an uninteractable yellow blob.
Where's the boss at?
Which consumes the whole map, seemingly confirming my suspicions that all levels would have to be beat before facing the final boss. One problem, I don't actually know where to go.
2,000 years later.
Yes!
Finally having cleared all levels, returning to the boss, the exact same thing happens. As it turns out, he could be destroyed this entire time.
Oh! Alright. Now that I get it. Fuck. But how am I supposed to destroy it without everything else getting fucked? How am I supposed to destroy it without everything else getting fucked? Maybe. Never mind. It's so hard to fucking beat it. Normal that. Normal that. Holy shit. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
Final verdict, don't buy this game. The only reason I wanted it was because of the name, and the only reason I finished it was due to contractual obligation. My next video will be delivered gracefully in a short time span, probably sometime in 2027. It will most likely be about Alpha Prime or Midnight Club 2. Unless I lose my sanity and release another Terraria video. Also, give me money and follow my Twitch. Lastly, here is one final message from my sponsor.
"You're going to regret this," George muttered as he started to undo Dream's pants in a hurry so the other would be distracted and give him more time just to cheat his advantage. Dream's eyes did stay fixed for a moment, but was far too aware of George's devious intentions, dragging in another tab that displayed his game, smaller and underneath the main attraction that was George sucking his dick. Is this ruining the sanctity of Minecraft?" George sighed, since this meant they really had to begin as Dream wasn't already starting as